Gentlemen, we're at time. Can you perhaps just tell us who you are when you ask a question and what your is?
My name is Paul Randall-Jolliffe. Chairman of the London South East branch of the Mankind Initiative. I'm also on the NEC. I work with Mark. I was hoping to speak today, but obviously there's not enough time. I think the issue here is that there are parents that are able to use the system very badly. That the system actually responds in a way that isn't able to cope with those people that are behaving badly. And it doesn't matter whether it's male or whether it's female, although in a particular instance of domestic violence there is no help and support for male victims of domestic violence. I think men and women, mothers and fathers, can equally suffer when somebody is behaving badly. And I think the thing that I've identified that concerns me most is that much of the system is actually behaving unlawfully. And this is the thing that concerns me most. Particularly important document, which I think is probably less read than it should be, is the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, which is we are a signatory in this country. And if you look at that document, some of the analysis that I've done is that police, courts, local authorities, government are actually breaking the law, and it concerns me greatly. One of the things that I've done is actually started addressing where I come across it, where I am locally, and I'm actually finding that the institutions themselves actually want to respond, but because of this pressure from on high in government, and there is political pressure, they're not actually able to comply with what the law says. In a particular instance, the duty on local authority to consider the needs of people, they're only required to consider the needs of women in domestic violence situations. That's just one instance. And I think if it's looked at properly, I think, in relation to what the law says, I think we'll find that there are some solutions out there, but it's going to take quite a job to actually sort of get that across to the right people. I mean, I've been speaking to senior police officers and in various other instances, and there is a willingness, but unfortunately there seems to be a political correctness that goes contrary to what the law says, and I'd like to really see that properly analysed and addressed in all areas.
Well, it'd be very helpful in your own time, I know with great urgency, you let me, through Mark, maybe have a briefing on the convention, because obviously if HMG is in default or breach of some of those clauses in the convention, that's something we should be looking at very carefully. Thank you very much, Steve, but that concludes the motor.
Yeah, my name's Andrew. I've been a victim of at least 4 assaults from my partner, and I've been the victim of injustice in the court system. And the only thing I've given is guilty love for my children. Now, the recent award by the government to Anthony Douglas giving the CDU, Child Children, actually shows that the government, I don't understand what's happening around the world, or they don't care. Actually, that award to CDU should be withdrawn.
Sorry, tell me, who got the CD?
Anthony Douglas, the Chief Executive Officer of CAPCAP.
Right. Thank you very much, Steve. Yes, the lady man.
My name is Barbara Malley. I'm actually representing my name is Happy Hall from Bedfordshire. I am on the other side of the divide because I have an ex-husband who's driven me into court 54 times. He's a very wealthy man. And it has cost me, I'm a teacher, £60,000 when I'm having to sell my house at present. I've suffered greatly at the hands of the family court system. I have lobbied my MP and went to see Harriet Harman, who might find me completely useless. And I am absolutely disgusted at what goes on. I have sat and listened to judges who don't have the papers and have seen fit to pass judgment not having read them. That falls on either side, whether male or female. How can anybody do their job if they haven't read the information? And I mentioned this to Harriet Harman. Although horrified, she didn't offer any advice as to how she was going to do anything about it. And it took her a year. I went to see her last January, and she just got around to acknowledging the fact that it was there. The whole system is a mess, and And the fact that my ex-husband has been able, I'm going back to court next week again, has been able to drive me through the court system 54 times is despicable. And the fact that nobody can stop him because he's got money flowing, you know, there's no monetary bias in him. He can keep going. He's just married for the third time, a millionaire. He has the money, and that's what bothers me. At the bottom of this, the child is not thought of. The child is not listened to. I've dealt with Catholics, which I think are abysmal. I've also dealt with the National Youth Advocacy Service. Some may not have heard of them. You do not want anything to do with them. They are worse than useless and worse than Catholics. My daughter decided not to see her father. We had to go through when she's 13. We had to get her own solicitor, and she's a very bright, articulate girl, and she did get her own solicitor through NIAS. That was a year ago. She hadn't seen her father for a year, and NIAS, you know, they got on board, and then we haven't heard a thing from them, despite many phone calls, you know, and attempts. The whole system needs a really good shake-up. And something has to be done, because the bottom line is that the people who are suffering, never mind the men suffering, never mind the suffering. What about the children? The children are suffering. They're the next generation. We're bringing up a generation of children whose parents fight over who's going to see them, and when they do get the privilege, we had equal parenting, which I never wanted, I'll be honest. But my ex-husband proved that it was no use because he hasn't equally parenting. And my daughter's proved that by actually wanting to go to court and say that herself. Equal parenting, I think, is the answer, but only in a responsible situation where both parents are willing to put an equal amount of work into bringing up the children, and forcing children to see either parent against their will, and the fact that the child is not listened to must be addressed, and must be addressed quickly.
Thanks very much. You've got a bit comment about him. We've got time for two more quick questions on this particular topic. Yes, indeed.
I'm speaking about my son, who was the recently high ranking naval officer. The range of photographs of what his wife had done to him, my grandson saw their father be attempt on his life. Lucky that she missed him with a very loud laugh. The police were all aware of all of this. The courts were aware of all of this. Yet, all courts, for instance, were my daughter-in-law broke every rule, every order was broken. Nothing was being done at all.
Yes, indeed.
Except when my son took the advice from the police officer who writes to her, he was convicted of harassment. And currently, the police force solicitor is libeling my son by saying they will not lift a restraining order against him because he was dismissed from the Royal Navy for misconduct. He actually has retired 2 years before. This restraining order contravenes the European Orders on Child Contact by preventing him having contact. He hasn't seen his children for 10 years. I don't know, I'm not longer, but I just want to say it is the children have phoned crying they want to come. I agree the children must be listened to, but the court must listen to both sides in all cases, not just one, not the first person to refuse. That's what I've been told by the police. They will listen to the first person to make the application.
Thank you. That's very helpful. If I just introduce my colleague, John McBride, QCMP, who I work with, he is the shadow Attorney General. I'm actually Shadow Justice, but he joins our team on most of our meetings and is going to be helping me and other members of the Justice team with our review of family law. And he's indeed very, very interested in what people have got to say and in the whole debate and discussion.